I'm a YPO Gold member here in Toronto. Been in YPO since 2005, so I've been doing it for quite a few years. And my business is ingredients for bakeries. We make both flavors and bakery mixes for large industrial bakeries. So if you ever buy baked goods or any of the flavored drinks at Tim Hortons, we're into those products. We do the pumpkin spice for Tim Hortons and a bunch of other flavors for their drinks, and supermarket chains and bakeries all over North America, a little bit into Central America, and hopefully into Europe soon. We've been in business for 46 years now. We've got about 80 employees now working in between production and R&D. About a third of my staff is in R&D. We put a lot of effort into new concepts and customizing for clients, because that's really the future of the business.
So that puts things into context now. So when the tariffs started coming in, as you know, some of our friends were freaking out, and our WhatsApp is completely full of discussions every moment, every day. We're getting that running. How have you made tariffs to your advantage or disadvantage, or how are the tariffs affecting you?
Okay, so we were terrified at the beginning too, because nobody knew what was going to get tariffed. As they are as of right now, and it could change in 5 minutes in the next tweet, but as they are right now, my products are exempt from tariffs when I ship them to the States. What's that done for us though, is that our Canadian customers don't want to buy from the US, whether their raw materials are tariffed or not anymore, because it's more than just the tariffs now. When it comes to Canadian customers, they're also trying to protect themselves from any uncertainty in the future, and also a little bit of, you might say, anger against the US in terms of not wanting to support US companies. So it's a combination of both. We are full up in R&D and in production, replacing US imported products with our Canadian made products. So our business is actually booming right now in the Canadian marketplace and replacing US products. The other thing that we're doing is that we're exporting to other countries that are buying US products right now, and we're getting more aggressive in trying to go after American customers in outside markets in South America and Central America. And where the tariffs are helping us is that all our US competition is paying tariffs on their raw materials, because no matter what you make in our industry, you cannot use 100% North American ingredients. It doesn't matter what it is, because cocoa beans are not grown in North America. Palm oil has to come in. Coffee has to be imported. So no matter what you touch, you have to use imported ingredients. And right now we're not paying duty on those ingredients, and my US competition is. So when we're either re-exporting to the States and our products apply for USMCA, or going after accounts in export countries, our cost to produce the product now is lower than my competition that's in the US.
What are your new markets that you've entered in the last 2 years, or especially what are you seeing now in terms of new business from non-Canadian, non-North American markets that you're excited about talking?
Well, South America is very exciting because they're getting hit a lot from the US tariffs, especially Brazil. We just came back from Brazil from a trade show. So we're setting up distributor and brokers all throughout Central and South America. And we're also setting up by surprise. I didn't know we'd be getting this much more US business now also that's coming to us. We're not even going after it, but there's a lot of US businesses coming to us in terms of exporting now our products to the US, because we're being very competitive.
Is your business expanding? I mean, of course you're expanding, but where do you hope to be by the end of this year compared to last year? And again, don't tell me any, not looking for those kind of like percentages or anything you want to disclose.
No. We were budgeting a 20% increase, but we're ahead of budget by 10% over that. So we're at 30% over last year right now. So we're way over budget, and we're actually putting in new equipment where we found a Canadian YPO member that makes the equipment that we're about to use to expand our plant. And maybe a lot of our members know Mike Ritchie. Was having dinner with him in Spain. And just over the dinner conversation, I discovered that he can make the products, the equipment that we need. So it's good also not only seeing it being made in Canada, but made by another YPO member and expanding our plant through those means.
And what are you doing for labor? Because you also, we're all, being what you do, you'd be very concerned about labor costs as well, right?
Well, you know what? Labor is becoming easier to find than it used to be. So it's improved a lot in terms of everywhere from factory workers to front office workers because of the labor market in Canada is getting a little bit easier to hire. A lot of companies are hesitating. But remember, like, we're in the food industry. So we're in one of the safest industries there is. People always have to eat. So we're fortunate in that. Although when I talk to manufacturers in the food industry in the US, and also I talk to equipment manufacturers that sell to all of North America, either North American manufacturers or people that are in Europe that export to North America, Canada is back up to pre-pandemic levels in terms of buying equipment. But the US, it's a trickle right now. It stopped completely for about 6 months, and now it's starting to be a trickle, but people are very hesitant about investing money in their factories in the US right now, which is the opposite of what the administration is trying to do in the US, which is creating more jobs and more factories. But that's just from my cross-section of people that I know in the food industry that are selling equipment or own plants themselves that are either expanding or not expanding.
What are your, I mean, I know things can change, just like when they put the new tariffs on canola, which was shocking for places like Saskatchewan. We just didn't expect that. And that is a byproduct. I mean, they make canola oil and things like that. What are some of your fears coming up? Like, what is it that you, if you're losing any sleep anywhere, what do you worry about? What's Martino worried about?
Well, if the USMCA goods now are going to get a tariff on them, then that's going to be something very large to overcome, because then my products will get tariffed at 35%. If you're using the current tariff rate that Trump is using, that would be very damaging. Right now, everything's exempted. I'm hoping that a deal is struck and then we have to renegotiate USMCA next year. It's unlikely that he's going to tariff USMCA goods because the US economy is already slowing down. Their deficit was announced is increasing over previous years. If he starts putting duties on USMCA goods, you're going to see inflation skyrocket in the States and the economy slow down even further. And I don't think he wants that to happen. So I think he's being careful because of that, and that's why he hasn't touched it yet. It's going to hurt them as much as it's going to hurt us.
If 100% is your business, what percentage do you have that's U.S. business right now?
Right now, it's about 30%.
30%. But it sounds like you're replacing that 30% with your South America, with your potentially your Europe business as well.
We're working on it. It's not going to happen overnight. But the biggest increase right now is more than the export markets is the domestic business that's increased to kind of buffer that 30%. But it's still at 30% because surprisingly, my US business has also increased too.
And what do they, because you're Canadian but non-tariff, people, what you're saying, what are they saying to you? Because I can't imagine, like, I mean, you remember the old days, like you mentioned about you're Canadian going against the U.S. They're not shopping from you because they're buying in the U.S. They're doing everything in the U.S. But today it's different because of your price advantage, I guess, and you're able to supply. I don't want to speak, but you know, that's basically my guess.
Well, part of it is the price advantage. We also have more relationships now. And because of how it's happening this time, if anything, our customers are apologizing for the headaches that they're giving us more than being careful about buying from Canada. Now, again, this is the cross section of just my customers, and in many ways, we're deeply embedded with them. Other people might be getting different experience in terms of if they're losing contracts. Like I know some of my customers are getting a little bit more competition domestically in the US. But again, US plants have capacity, and they don't have the capacity to bring in all the business to replace Canadian imports. And building a new plant takes 3 to 5 years. So if they want to add on the capacity, it's not going to happen even within this term.
What else can you, do you have any fears of, just generally speaking, fears that what might happen to the Canadian economy? Just guessing where you think we're going to head to, where we're heading to with the potentially of these tariffs, how it's affecting us, whether it's in steel, aluminum, copper, whatever.
Well, I'm hoping that Carney can sign a deal to help give some certainty, because sometimes you don't want to sign a bad deal. Like, it's better to have no deal than a bad deal. But even if the deal is kind of neutral, sometimes, just like it's happening with Europe, having a deal at least gives you some certainty, and business needs certainty. So right now, outside of our industry, so I'm talking about non-food, because like I said, we're not getting tariff, but it still affects the general, the Canadian economy, is not having any certainty on aluminum, steel, and cars. There's no deal. There's the 35% punitive tariff that we have right now. Getting a deal on that will give some certainty to business to then know how to price your product or not to price your product, how much to absorb, how much to pass along, and then you can start planning again. And we don't have that until a deal is struck. So I'm hoping that our leadership in the country can get something done and give some certainty so that business can move on, just like a lot of other countries in the G7 has done. I think we're the only G7 country that hasn't signed a deal with Trump yet.
Do you find that Canadians, do you not think that what's happening now was a pure wake-up call? We read about Canadians, where people have accused Canadian businessmen of being lazy, that they're only focused in on the U.S. markets as opposed to opposite markets like you're doing now and have been doing. What's your comment about Canadian businesses and people that have reached out and said, "Hey, listen, Canadians, get off your backside, get going. We have other markets." What are your comments?
Okay, I think we just got lazy because we had a great market south of the border. But if you look at the numbers, is that even if you look at the trade deficit that we have, the U.S. had with us or has with us, but we're 1/6 of the population of the U.S., if not a little bit less than 1/6, and the trade is almost balanced, which means that every Canadian buys quite a bit more product that's U.S. made than U.S. people buy of Canadian product per capita, right? So we're a big purchaser of the U.S. items too. So the trade does go both ways, where even some U.S. companies are also lazy because they have a great market north of them where they sell a lot of product into Canada. And I know some companies that are like that Canada's the biggest customer they have. But we became a bit complacent, both at company levels and at the government level. And my viewpoint is, as long as this is a wake-up call that we remember, and we don't get lazy again over the next 2 or 3 years only because the emergency went away, I think 10 years down the road, we're going to be a much stronger and better country because of what's happening today than we would have been, because of getting serious about building things again, opening up for the pipelines, opening up for the resources, building those things out that Well, the previous government put so many regulations in that it'd be impossible to get through the paperwork to get anything done.
What are your hopes and dreams for your kids in 10 years, as far as being a Canadian? What do you hope in 10 years that we're going to see? So we talk about 3 to 5 years. In 10 years, what do you hope to see for your kids who are in the business? What do you want from them, and what do you want from Canada, and what do you want to see for Canada in 10 years for them?
Yeah, well, you know, my daughter just joined the business about a year ago, so it hits close to home, and I plan to not retire and bother her for many, many years to come and get in her way as she tries to run the business. And I'm sure once she becomes a YPO member, she's going to get a lot of advice from YPOers how to get rid of her dad. But a lot of times with the Canadian government, and I think it applies to a lot of governments, we're not unique with that, is they always come up with these new things about giving money here and giving money there to invest. Sometimes I'd rather they just didn't give us the money, but just get out of our way. It took me 9 months to get a permit to expand my plant here in Brampton. It's just ridiculous. And the questions they were asking that were really non-relevant for any safety or anything else, it used to take so few days to get a permit done with so few questions. And now it's a huge process. In the last 2 months, I've had my finance department spend days answering government surveys. We're on our 3rd survey in 2 weeks. The amount of resources that I have to allocate to non-productive tasks that is required just for the government, and the things that the government slows us down every time we need to do something, is insane. If the government just streamlined their regulations, they keep the necessary ones, there's a lot of necessary regs you need, whether it's food safety or safety for employees or whatever, but just get out of the way for all these new regulations that just keep on adding that don't make any sense. And all of those have a cost. They're distracting to businesses. I'd rather have less regulation and no grants from the government than all the grants that we apply for that we get from the government, and just not get that money, but just let us run our business.
I tell Canadians that want to start their own business today, what do I tell them? I'm not talking about an existing business. You're starting a new business. What is Martino telling them?
God, if you're starting a new business today, make sure you have the cash flow to keep you going for the ups and downs and the uncertainty today, because right now the uncertainty is bigger than it ever was before. So you have to stress test what you're doing to make sure that you can absorb the decreases if they hit, if something happens in the tariff or some other uncertain thing that's going to be hitting you. Every business that goes under for one reason: they run out of cash. And even if they're profitable, they could still run out of cash. So keep in mind, cash flow is king. Make sure you got the cash to go through any turmoil that you might be able to go through so you can see the other side.